so today's video is going to be about getting knocked out. Just kidding, it's going to be about sedation, because a lot of us at one point or another wind up getting sedated for procedures like endoscopies, colonoscopies, and whatever else. Somebody had requested this video and I can't find what video they commented on. Actually, I think they commented on 2 videos and I can't find where they are. So thank you for asking me to do this. This is a great subject to talk about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what getting sedated means for surgeries or procedures. And I did a lot of research on it, and it's very confusing to me because I am not in that field. I am not an OR nurse. I am absolutely nowhere near an anesthesiologist or a CRNA, so I have very little knowledge. So I had to do a lot of research and it was just very confusing lingo. So I'm going to summarize it as best as I possibly can for you guys. So there are a few different reasons that we get sedated for procedures. Obviously, most of us don't want to be awake during procedures that may hurt or make us uncomfortable. It's just easier not to be totally conscious during this, to not remember it. And then on the other side of it, for whoever is performing the procedure, whether it be a gastroenterologist or whoever, it's easier for them. If you're more relaxed, you're not flinching or moving around or wriggling, they feel more comfortable doing their job. Sedation can cause a few things on purpose. This is what we want them to do. We want it to be an analgesic so that way you don't feel pain. We want it to cause amnesia so you don't remember what's happening to you. And we want it to relax you. There are different levels of sedation, and that's where it gets really fuzzy for me. Depending on what medication they use, they can cause different levels of sedation. Some are very short acting, meaning that you recover from them pretty quickly, and then others are long acting, say if they have to do a longer procedure. But for some procedures, they can do something called conscious sedation or light sedation or whatever you want to call it, where basically you're kind of aware of what's going on, but you're not totally with it. So somebody can talk to you and you can talk back to them, but you're a lot more relaxed and you're able to do procedures. Now, the other type of sedation or kind of general anesthesia, that's where you go to sleep. It's deep sedation. And they will do that so you are going to be asleep during whatever procedure that they're doing. For that, it's just more likely for you not to remember what's happening. You're not aware of anything going on. Whereas with conscious sedation, you might remember what has happened to you. And the difference between the two, obviously there are lots of fuzzy lines with who can perform which. Conscious sedation, I cannot say that, can be performed by a registered nurse, usually oral or IV medication. And then the other, general anesthesia, can be performed by an anesthesiologist or a CRNA, which stands for Certified Registered Nurse Anesthetist. So, and that takes a lot of school for both of those, both the anesthesiologist and the CRNA, to complete and be qualified to do that. With conscious sedation and general anesthesia or deeper sedation, there can be kind of a mix where some people with conscious sedation will actually sleep through the whole procedure, or on the other side where it's deeper sedation, people might wake up during it. So I have stories for you of my experiences with both, and we will get into that in just a second. Obviously, I'm covering the subject very lightly. I know just a small amount about this from patients going down to procedures and all of that, and from my own experiences, but I am not a CRNA, and yeah. I like to base my videos off of my own experience rather than my RN experience, just because I've been an RN for a little over 8 months. I've been a patient for 13, 14 years now. I can't remember what it's been. So a little bit more experience on the patient side. So I've had both types of anesthesia. I know I had like the twilight type for when I had a PICC line placed. I completely remember everything that happened, but I was pretty out of it. I was able to have a conversation though, because I remember talking to the nurse who was kind of monitoring me. I was telling her about school and just random things about myself. I was very talkative, but pain-wise, you know, I could feel pain, a little bit of pain with the pinch in my arm, but I wasn't like caring about it. I was just like, ah, it's fine. Go ahead, take my arm, poke a big hole in it. And I've also had colonoscopies. I'm not, you know, I was young and my dad wasn't really aware of all that was going on, but I've definitely woken up at the end of procedures a little too early, and I've woken up during colonoscopies before. So I don't know whether they were meaning to do conscious sedation and I just fell asleep and then woke up, or if I was getting general anesthesia and I woke up like and they didn't expect me to. It seemed like it was more the second thing, where they didn't really expect me to wake up during it, and I did. I actually have problems with, I mean, I don't know if this is related or not, but when I've had cavities and I've had to get fillings done, Novocaine, for whatever reason, does not work on me. And I would say I have a pretty high pain tolerance. You know, I can get my stomach cut open and I would be totally fine. But when it comes to teeth, I am terrified of the dentist. I would much rather get another resection done than get a filling because of how painful it is. And they've done, I remember one time I had to get one filling done. They gave me 4 shots of Novocaine. And you're supposed to only get 1, maybe 2 if it starts wearing off a little too fast. But I got 4 and I felt the whole thing, so I cried through it. And here I am getting my stomach chopped open and I'm totally fine. I also remember one time, it was actually the end of my resection. The medicines that they used, I guess what they had used was a short-acting med, so they had stopped it to wake me up. And I guess I woke up maybe a few minutes earlier than they thought I would, because I still had the breathing tube in, which I would love to explain to you when they decide to intubate and when they don't, but I don't understand all of that, so I'm not going to try. But I actually woke up with the breathing tube still in, and I remember looking up and seeing a guy, and he had his head turned away from me, and he turned back and saw my eyes open, and his eyes went, and he just pulled the tube out really quick. I'm guessing he was like the, who knows who he was. I was so out of it, but I remember having the breathing tube pulled out, and I was, I was not about that. But I wound up being fine. It just was scary because I wasn't expecting to have that happen, and I 100% remember it. It wasn't like I had the effects of amnesia where, you know, I forgot it later. I still remember it. So we had mentioned that I had woken up during a couple procedures, and what I don't know if maybe this correlates, but I think maybe they upped the dose on some of this stuff, because now every time, well, I haven't been to a procedure in a while, but every time after that I had gone in for something, I felt like a train wreck. Oh my god, I felt so awful. It would take me forever to recover at home just because I literally felt like I had been hit by a bus. Yeah, I had a little bit of pain from like dilations or colonoscopies just because of my strictures, but I mean, it felt like a hangover times a bajillion. I felt so awful. So I think they must have upped the dose or something, because I did not used to have that problem where I felt like absolute bleh that long. I've had deeper anesthesia due to actual surgeries where they're removing pieces of intestine or placing the ostomy, and those procedures, I'll tell you right now, I don't remember anything. Nothing, except like I told you with the resection, I woke up early. But, you know, I remember sometimes I would be, I'd remember going into the OR, and that would be kind of it. I wouldn't even really remember them putting me to sleep. I feel like the OR for me has this, like, sedating effect anyway. I don't know what it is. I turn into a loopy, goofy, talkative mess. When they roll me in, I turn into an absolute mess before they ever put any medicine either through a mask or through an IV. It's pretty sad. But I kind of like it just because it gets me over the nerves and I'm just calm. And they're able to do what they need to do. And after a while, it was probably like my 10th colonoscopy or 10th dilation or whatever. This was with my ex-boyfriend and my dad. Both of them came to my colonoscopy. And I decided that time that I was going to try and stay in my mind as much as I could, like awake. That sounds really weird. So I remember I was holding both of their hands. They allowed them to come in as they were going to sedate me. So I was holding both of their hands. They put the mask and they do the, you know, count backwards from 100. So, you know, you get to like 95 and you're out. But I told myself in my mind, I was like, you're gonna close your eyes and you're just gonna keep thinking like you're going under into surgery, and I was gonna see how long I could keep my mind awake. And it was so weird because I actually could feel my body disappearing and I was totally in my mind. And, you know, I started seeing swirling colors and I was like, you're okay, like, don't worry. You have surgeons around you who are taking care of you. Like, you have no control over your body right now, but you are okay. And then eventually my mind shut down. But it was so weird because the feeling of my body left before my mind did. And I was told later when I woke up that I gripped onto both my ex-boyfriend and my dad's hands, and they had to pry my hand off of theirs. They said I was holding on for dear life to them. So my body just kind of like froze and I couldn't control anything. But it was really weird just to be in your mind and not feel anything else. Sorry guys, my camera turned off. So that's like the most simple explanation I can give you because that is my understanding of the different levels of sedation. There are probably a lot more detailed explanations out there. I had a lot of trouble finding really good summarizations of it. Yeah, there's not like a lot out there on it, at least not for my simple mind. And those are some of the experiences I have had with sedation as well. It can be really scary to be put under for the first time. I totally get it. But usually they will offer, at least with children, they probably do this with adults as well. They offer medicine beforehand to try and calm you down, get you relaxed before you even go in the OR. Just so you're not so anxious, because it is scary being wheeled into this big white sterile room where you know people are going to be poking and prodding at you and you're not going to be aware of it. So they do offer that. You should ask if it's something you're interested in. But yeah. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and I will see you in my next one. Alright, bye!